What is up, guys? My name is MipZ and welcome back for yet another League of Legends video. So today we're playing something pretty exciting. This is a champion that I personally have kind of a love-hate relationship to. The reason for this is that it's a champion that you can really carry with, but he's also kind of team dependent a lot. It is, of course, KOG'MAW. So KOG'MAW is a very fun champ to play. The issue with him, in my opinion, is at lower elos he can be really hard to play because he really requires your team to peel for you. But when that's said and done, then literally this guy, he can shred the enemy team from front line to back line to the freaking nexus. He is like this champion can kill everybody in a matter of split seconds. He has so much damage and he scales well. Like literally the enemy team cannot even build armor or do anything to really prevent it in late game. You are just gonna basically do this, gonna wipe your ass in them. He's a really fun champion. He really is. He's one of my all-time favorites, but also a champion that I'm very cautious with choosing. So for now, I'm actually just gonna put a ward there. I'm gonna be a little careful because we are not gonna be able to do much about that one, and we're just gonna kind of hang back. I do believe that I'm gonna take my W. Usually do want to start Q right off the bat. The reason why I took W here is to try and pick up some of this farm. I wasn't afraid whether or not their jungler would come down and try and get us. So anyway, throughout this video we're gonna go through a couple of things. First of all, we're gonna talk a little bit about who this champion is for. Then we're gonna talk a little bit about the abilities, how they work, what they do, how they play together, and the combos, etc. And then we're gonna talk about the overall game strategy of how you want to play this champion in early, mid, and late game. And that's kind of it what we're gonna do in this video. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and if you do, make sure to smash that like button. If you're not already, make sure to subscribe. But all that plucking aside, let's talk about KOG'MAW. So KOG'MAW is a really fun champion to play. He is a champion that I think for a lot of people is really good, especially if you're playing with a duo partner. Then if your partner likes to play something like Braum, Thresh, etc., then you're really gonna be in for a treat, because this guy can wow, missed that one. Really, this might actually just be a kill. It should be a kill. There we go. Nice. You can get the slow in there. Make sure we get the double. We will be able to get this for sure. There we go. Oh, sweet. Good job. By the way, I'm not pre-made with this Thresh. Anyway, if you are playing pre-made duos, then this KOG'MAW playing KOG'MAW can be a really good thing, because you have a bit more control over your lane and your late game. So if your teammate or real life friend or whoever you're playing with, if he can protect you and play the support role as it's supposed to be played, especially for KOG'MAW, that's why you see whenever the pros play KOG'MAW, then they actually almost always choose something like a Thresh, a Braum. Braum is especially very highly used. Oh wow, especially very highly used for playing with KOG'MAW, because that duo in my mind is it's stunningly good. But if you're playing with randoms, then I would strongly recommend that you kind of look at your teammate before choosing KOG'MAW and being like, okay, what does he want to play? Because if he wants to play like some ability power, aggressive offensive champion that isn't really tanky and won't be able to peel for you, then going KOG'MAW is probably not going to make a lot of sense. KOG'MAW is someone you really choose in order to hyper carry the game, and in order to just shred the enemy team apart, and your team needs to play around that. So it's something you need to know. but I just wanted to put it out there. It is a champion that mechanically isn't very hard, so a beginner could probably do pretty decently on him. The issue is more the positioning that can be a bit hard, and can be a bit hard not getting caught out just because he is so immobile. So it's really something you do want to think about. I have my heal here. Should be able to kill this guy really fast. We are going to get a double right here. There we go. Nice. I'm actually not pre-made with this Thresh, but he's doing a good job. Anyway, all that aside, just want to really quickly sum up. If you are a brand new player, this is probably not the champion I would first recommend to, but if it's what you want to play, of course, go for it. But he is a fairly hard champ to master. But if you're a mediocre or a very experienced ADC, you should definitely have this guy in your roster, because it is a champion that I even turn to from time to time in order to carry games. He's really fun, especially good against really tank heavy combos, because you can shred through them all. So that's really, really fun. All right, now that we've cleared all of that, I'm sorry that it took a little while. Let's talk about how the abilities work and why this champion is so freaking good. Why he can kill all your enemies so much faster than any other champion, more or less. So yeah, first of all, we have his passive, and his passive is actually not something that is so significant in terms of your damage throughout the game. Of course, it is going to grant you some kills here and there, but ideally you're not going to need it. Your passive is called Icarthian Surprise. What this thing can do is that every time that KOG'MAW dies, of course, this is not what you want to go for, please don't die. But every time KOG'MAW dies, then he spawns this kind of spirit, I guess. I'm gonna call it spirit for the sake of this. I don't know what you actually call it. But he spawns this spirit that has a bit more movement speed than he has usually, and that kind of flaps around with his arms, and then after a few seconds, then it explodes, dealing true damage to anything close to it. And that's kind of all that thing does. That's all your passive does. It's the damage is very significant, so you can definitely get take off about somewhere between 10 and 25% of people's HP, depending on how tanky they are, meaning how much HP they have. But that's all it does, and it's something you don't want to strive for. But if you know for a fact that you are gonna die, then going for let's get this. There we go. Then going for extra kills. Me like. All right. Then going for if you know for a fact that you're gonna die, let's say that this engage we just had here didn't go as well as it just did. Let's imagine that Twisted Fate was 100% sure that he would be able to kill us. Then in an ideal world, then what we would do instead, since we know for a fact we wouldn't be able to get away, would probably be, okay, let's do all the damage we can and hopefully get him low enough such that our passive can, such that our passive can kill him. That would be the ideal thing to do. And for those of you, if I didn't mention it already, when the passive procs, when you die, you can control the spirit where it runs to. So make sure to make use of this. And it gives true damage, meaning that it ignores all armor and magic resist the target might have. So it actually does do a lot of damage. Anyway, all that aside, let's move on. It's a very simple spell. The next spell we have is our Q, and this one is called Caustic Spittle. I think that's how you pronounce it. And basically all it is that KOG'MAW spits, and this spit has a very long range. You can see if I hold over it here, you can actually cast it really, really far. The spit, once it hits an enemy, it can only hit one enemy, and it can even hit minions. So the first thing it hits, it deals some damage to that target, and it reduces the target's magic resist and armor for a few seconds. It's up to, I think it's 4 seconds it reduces it by. This is so, whoop, thank you. Wow, cannot believe I just did that. Well played. Well played. I cannot believe he actually got away. My bad. Oh, Whoop. More people. More people. So many. So many people. Oh, and here, okay, good example of the passive. I played that terribly. Anyway, that aside, what your Q can do is that, as I said, he just spits on his target or on whatever target is this hits first, reduces the armor and magic resist by a percentage, which is really good, and it deals a chunk of damage. So this is something you really want to use as early in the engage as humanly possible. Because the reason for this is, or of course, not before you're able to attack the target, but as soon as you know for a fact, you're like, okay, I'm about to auto attack this guy with my my spells. Actually, we'll talk about the W in a second. But as soon as you know that you're committing to an engage, then make sure to pop this on that target and just go all out, because you are going to deal a heavy chunk of damage. This Thresh is an absolute god. Thank you. Oh, nice hit. There we go. Really good play by him, by the way. It's really, really nice. This Thresh actually kind of makes me, or allows me to go half brain AFK, which is really good. Let's just clean out this vision a little bit. But that's all your Q does. It's super simple and really, really good, especially against something like Alistar. And since this reduces it by a percentage, then it scales really well into late game, scales against the tanks, that you can just shred them down really, really quickly. Your next spell, and probably one of the most important ones, is your W. And your W is called Bio-Arcane Barrage. And it sounds just as cool as it is. What this thing can do is very simply that it increases KOG'MAW's range, and it allows him to deal damage based on his target's maximum HP. This is insanely strong. Also, this, just something very important, is this damage is dealt as magic damage. Oh, I'm dead here. 100%. We might be able to get this guy down. There we go. You can see this is a good example of KOG'MAW's passive actually being pretty useful. He got us a kill. I knew I was dead, so I committed to the target that I thought I would be able to get down, and we ended up getting it down. And even though I'm kind of throwing the bot lane right now, it does kind of show. So I think it's nice. It's fine. All right. So your W increases your range and allows you to deal damage based on the target's maximum HP, and the damage is dealt as magic damage. This is super good for several reasons. First of all, you get the extra range, which allows you to basically outrange anybody. Secondly, then since it's magic damage, then people can't just stack armor against you, which is super nice. Also, it deals it as maximum HP, which means that you're just dealing a ton of damage. And it's really hard for a tank to do much against a KOG'MAW. Like, he just stretched them. I'm gonna be quite frank. There's not much to do for a tank in late game. He is still just gonna go through them like a piece of freaking paper. And that's all that does. All right. The reason why you're maxing... Oh, yeah, one thing I actually forgot to mention about your Q, and it's very important, and I'm very sorry I just forgot. I just remembered. Your Q, and this is the reason why you pretty often want to take your Q at level 1, is that it passively gives you some attack speed. This is very essential, because it allows you in the early game, it makes it a little bit easier to farm at level 1 and get this... get level 2 first, which is really, really freaking good. So usually you want to go Q first in level 1, and then you want to stack your level or your W. That's the one you want to max first. The reason why you want to max your W first is because if at every level it increases the range KOG'MAW can shoot at when he activates it, and the maximum HP that it or the damage it deals from maximum HP. So very essential, but see right here, we should be able to probably get this guy down. One guy's coming in here, so we're just backing off a little bit. I don't want to get hit by this, but we are going to be able to turn this around right here. That's going to be a flash. Oh, close one. All right, our next spell is called Void Ooze. Void Ooze is our E. It's quite a simple spell. All this thing can do is whenever we cast it, it leaves this trail. And within this trail, like the first target it hits, it slows by up to 52% for 1 second. And anything that walks into this trail thing is also slowed by the same amount, but only for 0.25 seconds. And then it refreshes the duration of the trail on the ground, which means that it can last for longer. That's what she said. I'm kidding. Anyway, this is the thing that you really want to try and put out pretty early in the engage, making it harder for the enemy champions to get to you because of the slowing effect. It also deals a little chunk of damage, but it's not so significant that it's the actual reason why you want to pop it. You want to pop it mostly for keeping distance between you and your targets, or making it harder for somebody to chase down a teammate. All right, I was not really ready for that one, but I guess we'll go for it. Okay. He is going to get away, most definitely. That Saya is not doing a terrible job. She's doing okay. Anyway, we're super fed, so we should be able to just carry this into late game pretty easily. Our Thresh has been doing an absolutely great job, which is super nice. He is a king. All right, so that's all our E does. It's very, very simple. And now we are getting to probably one of the most exciting spells, and that is KOG'MAW's ult. And this spell is absolutely insane. Actually, a spell that a lot of people don't really know the ins and outs of. And that is because I guess people don't always read the spell. What his ult is called is Living Artillery, and it sounds just as cool as it is. It allows KOG'MAW to become an artillery that basically shoots. Let's see what we're gonna do here. We're actually just gonna sell this. I'm gonna do this. I know that's not ideal, but we'll do it just because I just want to optimize items right now. But it allows KOG'MAW to turn into an artillery. He can fire off, you can see just how long the range is. He can fire off his ult at any range here within this enormous circle, and it's gonna basically deal damage down like this. Super easy and super, super nice. The cool thing about this one is that the damage is actually... the damage is actually increased the lower the target is. This is something a lot of people are actually not aware of, and they use it very, very poorly. So KOG'MAW's ult, how it works is that it deals a certain amount of damage. If the target is below 40%, he deals 150% damage. And if it's below 25%, it deals 200% damage, which makes it an absolutely executioning blow. Like this can really shred people apart really, really quickly, which is super, super nice. Like it is really, really good. So a lot of people might be looking at me and be like, MipZ, what is the bad part of spamming your ult? I see that there's not really any cooldown. Well, here's the thing. He's let's just get this kill. We got it. Nice grab. Again, this Thresh is doing a great job. Pop a heal onto that guy. And again, he's just doing it. He is a boss. The bad thing about spamming your ult is that every time you cast it within a short duration, then it requires more and more mana. This in turn means that if we throw it now, it costs, you can see the cost of the spell on your HUD, your mini bar here. You can see right now it says 40 on top of the spell. So if I click it now, it's going to go to 80. If I click it again, it goes to 120. So what does this mean? This means that you, every time you cast it, it costs 40 mana more for every time. And after a short duration, then this goes away and resets to 40. So this is something you do want to stay very aware of. So you don't want to be spamming this when everybody's full HP, unless they're literally standing on top of each other and you can hit more than one target. Then you want to try and optimize it such that you deal the most significant damage and don't just swallow all of your mana before they're low. And when they're low and you would actually be doing 200% mana, you're like, oh dude, I'm So save your ult or you don't have to save it particularly, but make sure that you don't swallow your mana such that you won't be able to cast it when you actually need it. But that's all it does. Deals a good chunk of damage. One thing that you do need to be aware of with it, is that your ult, even though the animation looks really really subtle, you can see it's like this small thing, then the hitbox is actually pretty big. You can see if I hold over it and just hover, you can see it's actually pretty big. So it's something you really do need to keep an eye out for, and remember that it's very easy that you, or very likely that you can hit more than one target with this spell. So yeah, really try and remember that. All right, let's see if we can do this. And for those of you who didn't really catch it in the early game, we didn't really talk yet about how to actually play this champion in the early game, mid game, and late game. So we're going to do that now. First of all, in the early game, what you mostly want to do is you want to try and hang back, wait for your support to do the play, or set up the plays. KOG'MAW is not a playmaker. He's more of a backup. With KOG'MAW, you just want to sit in the back and do what we're doing here. Like, Thresh is doing an amazing job, I'm not gonna lie. This guy's actually doing really well. But the reason why this is also working is because we're kind of just waiting for him. We're waiting for him to make a play. Whenever he makes a play, we back up. We are stronger than they are if he makes the play. And that's the important thing. So with KOG'MAW, stay behind your team. Your kill order is always kill from front to back. In the laning phase, position wise, let me try and see if I can explain this without dying at the same time. In the laning phase, what you want to do, of course, if you can kill the ADC, that's awesome. But pretty often it's going to be hard for you to get to it. But you are going to deal more damage than their ADC on their tank in most cases. This, in other words, mean that you just want to try... Oh, I don't want to go over there. All right. Should be able to... Oh, it barely hits him. This means that in the early game, you want to stay in a position such that you're out of range of their ADC, but in range of their support if they're playing a tanky support. This means that you can deal... Whoop. I'm a little afraid of this guy. You should be able to get this guy down. Nice. And we're just doing a good chunk of damage, staying in the back line, making sure that we're not really in any... Want to stay out of this. Oh, can heal. We will get this guy down, but we will die. So right here, gonna follow up, try and finish this guy off if we can. Come on. Oh, Karthus, that flash. Ugh, hurts. All right, no. Okay, let me try and illustrate down here. So if you're playing in a bot lane and you're playing against the enemy team, then what you want to do is you don't want to get in range. If you're taking a fight, tank versus tank, your supports, then you should be able to kill their support before they kill yours. So the other ADC will be trying to get to you. If you can kind of stay out of his range, then just kill their support. Otherwise, if your support starts to engage on the ADC, of course, go on that if you can. But what I'm trying to say with all of this is just kind of you need to... let's see what makes sense here. This actually makes sense. I think we're going to go for the magic resist first. We need some control wards. Oh, my warding. Let's get that one. But you kind of always want to try and wait for your teammate to initiate the fight, then back up around it. Once you get to mid to late game, you kind of just want to back up around your team. You want to play the team game and then stay behind your front line. So you always want to make sure that your support is covering you. If you're playing with someone like Thresh, you see how I'm always trying to stay in a position where Thresh is between me and the enemy. So if they need to get to me, they have to go through this guy. And luckily for me, this is a random guy. He's doing a great job at keeping them away from me, which makes my job a hell of a lot easier. So we're super fat. We're dealing a ton of damage. I just need to be a little careful here. And I know from the side here, we also have one guy coming in. So my position here could be a little dangerous, but we'll go back in here. I want to check if there's some vision. I really want this red buff if possible. But he is like always trying to stay in the back line. When we get to the team phase or to the actual team fight, make sure that you don't get caught out. You just want to stay back, wait for for someone to get in your range, or if you have to walk in their range, then kind of try to only reach one target. Don't end in the middle of the whole team. Just as you see me trying to do, I'm trying to follow my Thresh around with a decent distance such that whenever a fight erupts, then I will be able to ooh, this is not a great engage for us, so I want to just try and stay in the back here as much as I can. I did take a chunk of damage. We're going to take this healing real quick. This should be a free Drake for us, but always try and just stay back, wait for the team fight to erupt, and then back up around it. You will be able to kill their front line before they kill yours. You're playing freaking KOG'MAW. His damage is based on maximum HP. He reduces armor, magic resist. So not only like he literally just shreds everybody apart in the moment. And the cool thing, and this is something a lot of people probably don't know about him. A lot of the mediocre to experienced players definitely know this, but newer players probably don't. The reason why you always want to get this Hurricane is not only because it gives AoE damage, but the cool thing is that the AoE damage, this Hurricane actually applies the on-hit effects. This means that your W, the effects from dealing damage based on max HP, is actually applied to this one. So let's have a look right now. Our W at this point it gives us 210 range, which the Hurricane also of course has, and it ensures that our damage dealt deals 6% plus 0.3% of the target's maximum HP as magic damage. But this applies to this one as well. So every time we fire, if we're hitting 3 champions at once, then we are taking 6% of each of those targets HP every single shot, which is absolutely ridiculous. So it's something you really do need to stay aware of. Oh, whoop. I'm most definitely dead here. I had a bad feeling about this one, but I trusted Thresh. He's been doing really well throughout the fight, but yeah, this one was in no way worth it. I think we might just go ahead and lose this, despite me being very fed. But I do think we can do it. And that's what I kind of mean with this guy. Like, you have to play around your team, because you can't just, like, I can't go up here. We're playing against a Trundamere. He's going to be able to solo me pretty easily. And most of these other ones, I don't have any mobility, so I have to stay behind my team and make sure that I don't die. But as long as my team goes in and starts the fight and allows me to be in the back, then I can shred people apart. And that's why this guy is super nice, especially at a bit higher elos where people know how to play their champions, know how the macro game works. Because you will be able to do a lot better when that's the case, because you will be able to play around your team. So let's see if we can turn this fight around. We will be able to get our wits end now, and I think for our next item, let me have a look what would make sense for us. I'm thinking something like a frozen mallet would be pretty fun. I feel like that, or maybe a guardian angel could also be useful. I'm kind of split between those two. I feel like frozen mallet could be, you give it a bit of extra. You know what? Nah, we're gonna go GA, I think. Feel like that's gonna be the way. Let's get this. I feel like Thresh is becoming a little cocky. He's doing really well, but he's playing a little too aggressively. Oh, that was really nice. I take that back. Good job, buddy. Good job. All right, so we could go up here, probably take the Baron. If our jungler could go with us. All right, they're moving out. This could be slightly dangerous. I'm gonna flash this because I don't want to get caught out. And I'm going to be able to just shred this guy apart. That's the most important thing. As long as I don't die, we're still in the game. I deal some good chunk of damage up there. He's now below 40%, meaning that he is going to take that extra damage. So if we can get to him again, then that'll be good. All right, so what do we have here? Sadly, our Karthus died, which kind of set an obstacle for taking Baron, which otherwise would have been really good. So what can we do? We're going to go for the red buff. I think Guinsoo is going to take it, right? Oh, yep. Oh, maybe not. I hope he doesn't get mad. Oh, thanks, man. Thank you. All right. So far, so good. I do think that we can turn this around. Like, we've been doing pretty well overall. We're not been doing too bad. Like, considering the fact that I'm trying to explain this at the same time. Sadly, our mid lane lost this pretty terribly. Or top lane has been doing like, nah. He's been doing okay, I guess. It's not too shabby, I guess, but I haven't seen him really play. I'm in a terrible position for this fight. But I will be able to just fire this off. Thing is, I can't really reach anything here. And I don't want to go down this way. I'm gonna stand here. I'm just trying to all right. Oh, what up? Nope. No, not me. Nobody. God dang it, man. I'll take this gold then. 16 gold, that's mine, buddy. All right. I think for this, actually considering these engages, I think I'm gonna go Frozen Mallet. But they are gonna finish it. Yeah. You know what? We did okay. But this kind of comes to show what I mean with KOG'MAW. I think this is a really nice way of showing KOG'MAW. Even though we lost the game, I feel like it really showed what I mean. Like, KOG'MAW is an absolutely insane champion. And yes, I'm not a pro at all in any way. And maybe some people would be able to hard carry this game. But in my opinion and my experience, then KOG'MAW is really a champion that comes more down to like, he's a beast, an absolute beast if you play him with a team. Like, if there's synergy in your team, that everybody's okay, we're doing this, we're taking this objective, we're doing this, we're making sure, and that we're protecting our KOG'MAW, because he will be able to kill the entire enemy team. Like, you can see most of these fights we kind of actually won. I don't like, that's the thing. But most people, we had a couple of things with our Katarina getting picked up several times, Karthus not having the biggest effect on the game. I'm not tilting or mad about any of this, but just saying that kind of shows that when the synergy in the team is not there, then playing KOG'MAW can be really hard. Then a lot of other champions are a lot easier to hard carry with, that you can actually just go and solo the team. But if you have the synergy, then I think KOG'MAW is a lot better than most other ADCs at hard carrying. And the reason for that is that he can shred anybody apart in a matter of seconds. As a tank, there's not much you can do about it. And when KOG'MAW is ahead and your team knows how to play around him, then it's really hard to come back. It is really hard to come back from a KOG'MAW. But yeah, and that's kind of it for this one. I hope this kind of gave you an idea of whether or not KOG'MAW is the champion for you, and gave you an idea of how to play him. But yeah, if you guys did and you found this somewhat useful or entertaining or something else, then make sure to smash that like button down underneath. I really would appreciate it. It ensures that this video comes out to as many people as humanly possible. And yeah, if you are not already, make sure to subscribe down underneath. It really would mean the world to me. It's been insane to see the amount of support we've gotten lately, so thank you guys. But that's gonna be it for this video. If you guys have any requests for champions or extra things that I didn't mention in the video, because there is definitely something that I didn't mention, then make sure to put it in the comment section below. And yeah, with that said, that is going to be it for this video. As always, stay awesome, have fun, and take it easy, guys.